Time for sound design. In this video, I'm going to create a bass patch from scratch using two synthesizers in Ableton. And the kind of sound that I want to create is this very raw, buzzing kind of bass sound that is very low, obviously, but also is very present, or can be very present in a mix. So it has that really like that sawtooth sound to it. And I'm going to create this sound from scratch using only synthesizers that come in Ableton, no other plugins. And I'll show you in this video how I create this sound. So let's get into Ableton and load up the drift synthesizer as the starting point for this synth patch. So here in Ableton, I have a MIDI track with the drift synthesizer loaded up. I made a couple of videos before about this synthesizer. It's a really deep synthesizer, but easy to use synthesizer. So go check out those videos as well. So this is the basic sound in Ableton. It's a C3 when you load up this synthesizer. And the kind of synth bass sound that I want to create is unison. So I'm gonna go to mode, put this on unison, and then add the detune percentage quite high, like at least above 50%. So you already create that nice kind of buzzing sound. There are two oscillators here, so I'm gonna put both of them on sawtooth to create that buzzing sound. I'm now playing in octave C3, but of course it's a bass sound, so I'm gonna lower it. Let's see, octave C2 or C1 even. That's better. So this is already pretty good. I want a little bit longer release, so maybe 1 second or 1200. And I want to crank up the resonance and lower the filter a little bit. And I think here we can use some modulation. So I'm going to add an LFO to modulate the cutoff frequency. So change the range, maybe somewhere like 70% to 100, and lower the rate quite a lot. Maybe 80%. So just a little bit of movement in the filter to create a bit more dynamics. So I think this is a nice buzzing synth patch. The only problem is that because of the sawtooth oscillators, it doesn't feel like it's low enough, and there's no sub oscillator in this synthesizer. So what I'm going to do is actually add a second synthesizer to create that really low end, that kind of sine wave 808 style bass, adding to this sound. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to add a operator synth to this synthesizer, and how you can do that is with an instrument rack. So let me show you. So I'm going to group the synthesizer into a instrument rack. So just right click, group, and as you can see now, this is an instrument rack. And if you click on the bottom icon, you see the drift synthesizer, and then if you go to instruments operator, you can add an operator, and now when you press a note on the keyboard, you immediately play both synthesizers. That's the drift synthesizer, and this is the operator, and by default it's on sine wave. So I'm just going to change the release time to maybe a second and add a little bit of attack. And now when I play both, I mean, you can hear how much fatter the sound is, how much lower. I can show you in the frequency spectrum as well, but you can hear there's so much bottom end now to this already low bass sound. So if you look at the frequency spectrum, if I only play the drift synthesizer, and now only the operator, so it is around 87 Hertz. Can I play the drift? There's a lot of overtones. The actual tone is lower, but you don't hear it that well. So you can change the volume between the two synthesizers here. So if I want to lower the operator, the sine wave, maybe we can lower it with 2. All right, let's put in some MIDI notes into the clip to kind of create a pattern for this bass sound. So we're in octave C1. Maybe we can go to the key of D minor. Let's have a 2-bar pattern starting at B flat. And because I use the LFO to modulate the cutoff frequency of the sawtooth part of the sound, there is some movement in the sound, but at the same time, because of the sine wave sound from operator is not filtered, there's like this constant low end that just continues to go on. So one more thing I'm going to do to the sound is, now that we have them layered, we can process them individually. So I'm actually going to cut out some of the low end of the drift so that the operator can take that part. So I'm gonna add an EQ 8 to the drift part. I'm gonna cut out the lowest 100. Or maybe 90. And because this is a layered sound, we don't need double the low end. So we want to have the mid to higher sound from the drift, the overtones, and the real low bass sound from the operator. So the next thing to do is save this instrument track to my library of sounds. And next time I want to create a track, I have a custom-made bass sound. And then I can decide also between the two volumes or do additional processing to the individual sounds. And that's the good thing about building up sounds with different instruments into an instrument track, that you have the control over them and you can process them differently depending on the kind of song or the kind of music you're making at that time. Let me know how you create layered synth sounds in Ableton. What are your tips and tricks? As always, thanks for watching, keep making music, and see you in the next one.